Use that one. Hey, this is Shaun with the Atlanta Tennis Podcast, powered by Go Tennis. Check out our calendar of Metro Atlanta tennis events at letsgotennis.com. And right now, we want to hear from you. We want to hear your story. If you've got something fun, exciting, interesting, we've had a few stories coming in, and it's really fun to read these stories. And I'm looking forward to sharing them with the Atlanta audience and really with the world, because Atlanta is the social tennis kingdom of the world, it has been called. And we've got a lot more social tennis matches going on here than anywhere else. And we would like to share the great stories that happen every weekend. Today, this is 10 Minutes of Tennis with world-renowned tennis coach Justin Yeo, Australian in Puerto Rico. And today, the phrase is, Justin, hit, move, look. Those are the three things. Hit, move, look. And you say we need to get that right. To me, It sounds a little obvious. So why are we pointing out the obvious? What's interesting about getting this right?
I just got off the court this morning with a group of 2.5 ladies. Never taught that level in my life. 37 years of teaching tennis. Never taught 2.5 lady team. But what was really cool was we were able to focus on some very serious fundamentals that you have to get right to be able to advance your game and be able to play correctly. And where a lot of people tend to struggle in singles and doubles, and with ball after ball after ball, is they don't have the rhythm of hit, move, look. They tend to hit, look, then move. And if you look, you're already too late. You're already being too late on the recovery, and you're being too late on the next decision, and you're too late on the next ball. All because you've hit, curved, right, and then made move, right? So if you can work on hit, move, look, and you keep practicing, you'll find yourself, being able to make earlier decisions, get in position earlier, have more options because of it. There's just so many things that will speed up if you can try to work on that system.
And I'll ask what I believe being the obvious question then. Can I not look and move at the same time?
You can, unfortunately, unless you're sort of professional and you've done it so many times, there's sometimes a slight millisecond that you're still looking before you move. And if you can look and move at the same time, and you keep practicing it, that's fantastic. But you really still have that order happening, right? You're hitting the ball, you're moving and looking at the same time. You still got the move happening as you're looking versus look and then move. You're missing out that millisecond decision.
Got it. And in that case, that takes me back to one of the things we say all the time. And one of the things I wrote about in my book, How Not to Play Tennis, shameless plug, is about watching the ball hit the racket and then looking up to find out where it went. Golfers all know this, but tennis players rarely do it. At the higher levels, you see it, but at the social level, you don't see it a lot. We look up before we hit the ball. So if I can hit it and I'm still keeping my eyes down and I can know that moving is my next thing to do instead of looking, I think that could help my ability to watch the racket hit the ball, and therefore it literally makes me a better player by doing this.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Roger Federer was one of the most profound people of hitting the ball, and the racket would continue, and his head just stayed right on contact. And if you noticed it, he would finish, and then his head would move. But as his head was moved, his body was already moving in recovery as his eyes would come up to the court. So his move was already happening before he actually even looked. And forehand especially. Forehand would come all the way around. His head was here, and he was already moving towards his recovery until he looked up. So
I think Alcaraz is a great example of that now, because he uses something that I teach. And no, I didn't teach it to him. I don't know him. But he uses that to let the shoulder hit your chin before your head comes up. He's so good at leaving his eyes down. And you can always tell that the movement is then the next thing before he looks up to find out where it went, because there's a certain level we know where the ball is within a few inches when we hit it. Now, but
Yeah.
for the social player that hit the ball, and like I'm the social golfer as well. I hit the ball. I'm like, it felt good, but do I really know where it went? And I
Yeah.
think a lot of the social players have that problem. You hit it, and you're like, ooh, is it in? I hope it was good.
Yeah.
Instead of thinking, I need to get back to where I need to be, and I'm going to find out if it was in or good soon
Yeah.
enough, right?
Right. I mean, at the end of the day, too, if you get better at this, just think about how many like shots, clean, balanced, well decided, perception, all of these things will work if you can get that order correct. Because you can hit the most perfect spot on shot, and if you're perving on it, you're in big trouble because you got to hit so many more balls with one ball. I mean, it's plain and simple.
I'm sorry, did you say perving on it?
Yeah, to be a perv.
That's a great phrase. I
Yeah,
don't know that I've heard that, but sneak a peek is kind of
yeah.
kind of what you're saying, right?
Yeah, well, in Australia we call them pervers because they're perving their own shot.
Yep.
And if you're sitting there remarking your shot and like, oh, look how good that is, you're already gone on the next one. So, um, sometimes it helps. I try to let people understand the time between racket to racket. A 4-0 or 4-5, it could be 1.52 seconds, depending on how well or how hard they're hitting the ball. Okay, if you add up that time, you have to hit the ball, recover, get in good position, look at your options for the next ball, make it, execute, and get ready again. And if you really think about like every 2 seconds that's changing, um, then that's where you really start to figure out that I have to be able to move and look. You haven't got time to do one or the other.
Which makes me wonder if tennis could stave off dementia. And dementia is maybe a specific term, but if I'm really using my mind in that way, and I'm really thinking, and I've got to make a decision in half a second as to where I need to move maybe 10 feet, and I got to cover that ground, and I got to get my brain, and I'm out there. My grandmother played tennis into her 80s, and sharp as attack into her 90s. And I'm going to blame that on tennis. Now,
Yeah,
how much can she still do because she spent much of her life, thousands of years, playing tennis and really keeping her mind active on when I hit the ball, I've got to sidestep and then get myself back to where I need to be and get ready. Now, it's different for an 80 something than it is for a 50 something or a 40 something. We watch the people on television and they're superheroes. So that's a great way to view it. But to really think, man, this is so good for our minds, it's not a surprise that tennis players live longer.
oh, 100%. You keep your cognitive working. That's the key factor. And it's in and out, in and out. It's intensity. So, but and we're going sort of off topic, talking about our length of life from tennis. But if you hit, move, and look, that's again a system that really works well for a lot of things. Uh, you know, so it really does come down to being able to do the both together at the same time, like you said. And the players, some will move more than they look, some will move look at the same time. But there really is the order of hit, move, look constantly. It's not hit, look. It just isn't.
It's a phenomenal reminder because it's the little things that we talk about.
Yep.
One of the conversations we had was about the fundamentals and making sure we
Yep.
get it right.
Yep.
And the fundamentals meaning also watching the ball hit the racket, keeping your head still on contact. But that doesn't mean your brain is still. That doesn't mean your feet are still.
Yep.
That just means that one thing you're watching the racket hit the ball, get a perfect image of
Yep.
that rather than trying to sneak a peek, as I would say, or perving on the next shot on that shot, because you're going to find out whether that ball's in or out soon enough. You're going to know soon enough. And I'm better served, is what you're telling me, physically being ready for the next shot than I am catching an extra half second of where it went.
Yeah. I mean, again, too, most people can come to me and say, I want to be faster. I'm too slow. I'm too slow. And it's the first thing I'll look for is, are they watching the racket? Are they hit, move, look? Right? And if they do, I mean, majority of the time they're not. And so when they're not, they're already getting faster. So they're faster to the ball. Their decision making becomes easier, and their hit, move, and look allows them to get more in position. Now they're hitting a lot more balls, and they don't feel slow because getting to a ball and struggling to get to it is for the reason that they're looking before they move. So that makes them feel slow, and they're not. It's just they've got the wrong order.
Hit, move, look. Justin Yeo, 10 minutes of tennis. Thanks, mate. We'll see you next week.
Welcome. Glad to hear on hearing us. Good.